seeing you here today. Driving down the road and seeing all these orange shirts coming here. Feeling the love and the support. I just want to raise our hands. Gratitude to each and every one of you for taking a little bit of time out of your life to come spend some time with us. Our vision of today was to gather the people. I think we've done that. Our vision today was to walk with our ancestors, walk with our elders, heal our communities, not just us as Semiahmoo, but our whole nation. I think each and every one of us today, when we heard that news of 215, it rattled us to our cores. It rattled us. I'm going to share a little bit more on what I'd like you to do today and how we're going to go about doing the work. But before we begin, our elders would always tell us, make it a good place. Make it a good place to invite your friends and your family. The way we go about doing that work is through song, through prayer, through our relationship and connection with our Creator. We must have a pretty good one because it's not raining.
Amen.
I thank you, each and every one of you, for your good thoughts. Thinking, damn, I don't want to go if it's raining. We're going to open with one of our songs, our Sklaktamish flood song. The story of us as Sklaktamish, we as Semiahmoo people, we're Sklaktamish. Many other nations here in our crowd, and I acknowledge and send my love and respect to you for joining us. We as Sklaktamish, we survived the Great Flood right here. We settled right across the bay here. And when the border came, we ended up on this side. But we survived that flood. And our late elder down south, he would say there's going to be many waves of this flood. There's going to be many waves of this flood. They're going to come in different waves. But the flood that came over, I imagine our whole world, I know our community, our elders, the ones that went to those schools, they felt that. That was the wave of grief, of hurt, of pain. Now we're into the next wave of healing, standing together and supporting one another. I really want to, in our English language isn't very touching. Thank you is not enough. Thank you is not enough for the support, for being here, your presence. One of my elders used to tell me there are certain times where you can't give anything but your presence. And I thank you for that. I thank you for your presence. I've been gone the past couple days, and before I say anything, I really need to acknowledge my two council members here, Joanne and Janine. I was in ceremony the past couple days, unexpectedly, and wheeled in here. So any of the, and obviously our friends from the city of White Rock for helping. We have our mayor from Surrey here this afternoon as well. But before we begin, we're just going to sing a song to start our afternoon. I'm going to sing a song to bless our gathering here. I'm going to ask of you a few things once we get going. But I just really want to acknowledge your presence. And I want to acknowledge your pain. The feelings of responsibility. The feelings of unknown, not knowing what to do. The feelings of hurt and sorrow. Aichka, Quanasametacho, Tiswile. You know what song? Before I turn the microphone over to our representatives from our neighboring municipalities, I just want to share that there are a few people here from Indian Residential School Survivor Society. There's support people here from First Nations Health Authority. Both here and when we land at our band shell. You know, it's there. Our vision. Our vision, come here, ladies. Our vision was to gather the people and find that healing. The purpose of our gathering, the purpose of why we come together, is so that we can be better when we're done. This day of reconciliation, recognized day of reconciliation. This is a part of it, right here. This is a piece. Each and every one of you are pieces. And I thank you for that. I thank you for being here. Nobody, you guys want to say something?
Siam, Sachalachasiam, Skulitowitz, Kunemia, Chesasitsanatiam, Skulitowitz, Kunemia, Natsasitsanatiam. I share my traditional ancestral names, Skulitowitz and Skunemia, number 1 and number 2, with my mother, who's our eldest band member, and Mabel Charles. My English name is Joanne Charles, and I'd just like to again say hi to each and every one of you for being here. I just wanted to just acknowledge where we are and where we're starting here today. This is the Grand Chief Bernard Charles Memorial Plaza. It was dedicated back in the gift of these two, the totem pole and the house posts that were commissioned by Robert Davidson through the city of White Rock to stand here. And the gift here today, that's what Robert called it. And this Memorial Plaza is a good place to start because a lot of other people had it seen fit that this was a good place to remember their loved ones that have already gone before them. And today we honor that. In 2009, the plaza here was dedicated to the Grand Chief Bernard Charles Memorial Plaza, and that's what it's known as today. And it was fitting that we start here today and we talk about reconciliation, and we wanted to let people know, if they weren't aware of the stories, if they didn't read it on the stones that are here, that that Semiahmoo, before this work went ahead, the elders and the council at the time decided that it would be really important to have an apology from the RCMP. And so Semiahmoo had the commissioner from Ottawa come out and apologize at the pole raising. So I just wanted to just mention that for Semiahmoo, we've been on that road and bridging that gap with RCMP. And we just wanted to let you guys know that because we do work in partnership with them. We know the history of the things that have happened in the past, especially with recognition of this day and the things that have happened to our people. But I couldn't help but not go away today just to let everybody know. This is what Semiahmoo wanted to do back in 1999, and the gift still stands here today as a representation of the good, the one heart, one mind that the people had at that time and moving forward. So I just want to do a little bit of background about, for those that may have come from far and near or are new to the area and didn't know, that's what this plaza is. And we have descendants of our uncle, Grand Chief Bernard Charles here, and his children, his grandchildren, and it's an acknowledgement of the good work that he's done for our community and with the local municipalities as well during his tenure as chief. So I just wanted to just say a few words, and again, just acknowledge each and every one of you. Haishkaosiam.
At this time, we'd just like to leave the mic open to our Erica from the city of White Rock, she's standing in as acting mayor.
Thank you, Harley. Yeah, I can cause a lot of trouble today as acting mayor. Good afternoon. Wow. A lot of people. This is great. I'm Erica Johansson, councilor for the city of White Rock. Mayor Darrell Walker sends his regrets, but he is here in spirit. It's been great working with the Semiahmoo First Nations. I'm genuinely honored to be here in this place on this day, the first, hopefully for not the last, walk for reconciliation. On behalf of all my colleagues on council, and today we have Councillor Scott Christensen and Councillor David Chesney in the audience as well. We thank you, Chief, for inviting us to join you in this walk. I would like to recognize that we are on the traditional unceded territory of the Semiahmoo First Nation, and I also wish to acknowledge the broader territory of the Coast Salish peoples. Welcome to you all. We wear orange today to raise awareness about the tragic and dark legacy of residential schools and to honor the lost Indigenous children and the thousands of survivors, their families, and communities. We are here to acknowledge the pain, acknowledge the hurts, the trickle-down effects of those schools, wrote Dakota Kochi, former Chief of Staff of the Assembly of First Nations. Today's walk gives us an opportunity to come together, to learn from those that have suffered and continue to suffer, to heal and to reconcile. We cannot change our history, but we need to learn, listen to the stories, understand, and work together toward helping individuals and families heal and build stronger Indigenous communities, its culture, and our relationships. However, it is institutional change that is the long-range goal. Again, Chief Kochi, reconciliation won't happen overnight, but our support and actions mean the world to the more than 1.7 million Indigenous people in Canada. I hope you enjoy today's walk and the activities, speakers, and honoring ceremony that follows at the Semiahmoo Park and hosted by the Semiahmoo First Nation. I'd like to leave you with a quote that acknowledges the challenge and the reward that awaits us further down the pathway to reconciliation. From Marie Wilson, an award-winning journalist, lecturer, and a consultant in the field of reconciliation. It's not going to be fast, and it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be rich and uplifting for all of us. Thank you.
We have our mayor of Surrey, Doug McCallum, here this afternoon, so I'd like to
Thank you very much, and certainly I wanted to be here today because I think it's important that all of us come together. All of us live probably in the surrounding area. I've lived down in this area for probably over 60 years. I live at Crescent Beach. I've worked with the Semiahmoo peoples for many, many years in different functions, different events. I swam against them in swim meets and so forth. And I look at us all as one big family. I feel very strongly that we need to work together, and it's nice to see so many people out here today. I could easily have given a speech, but I want to speak from my heart today, because I really do feel that we need to, and we have an opportunity now to do some healing, to recognize the past, but to move forward together, work together so we can all have a better communities to live and work and play in. And I think the First Nations that are throughout BC, and I have been educated a lot because I have 3 grandchildren that are First Nations, and they have taught me a lot. The oldest is 16 years old. And I don't know if you know, but in BC, First Nations have been working to put together an international youth First Nations rugby team that's going to travel around the world to play rugby. And my grandson, who is 16, just got on that team, and it's going to be leaving shortly. To also bring different communities together around the world. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart that we all have an opportunity to heal, to recognize the past, to work towards the future. The city of Surrey is going to be doing a number of events. Literally next weekend, we're opening a carving center in our Heritage Park on Crescent Road. And we're going to be working with all of the First Nations in that carving center. And it will be only one of a number that we are going to be putting into Surrey. We also are going to be working with the youth throughout. And I don't know whether you're aware, but the school board, the Surrey School Board, has the largest youth population of First Nations of any school district in BC. And they do a lot of work in the schooling end of it. But it's all involved that we're one big family, and we need to work together. So to me, it's a real pleasure to be here, but it's also more of a pleasure to see so many people here to be part of the process of healing, as the chief says, but also of the process. Let's move forward. Let's move forward as a family. Let's move forward understanding the past, but let's move forward working together so that we all can have a better life together. So thank you very, very much for allowing me to say a few words. I just would like to say 2 of our councillors from Surrey are here. Councillor Annis, which is in the front here, and Councillor Patton, I saw, I think he's out there standing up. So on behalf of council, but more importantly on behalf of our 600,000 residents in Surrey, thank you again for allowing us to be here and be part of your family. Thank you.
Save enough. Best for last. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to call forward Trevor. I was calling him Rob Halford. I'm thinking, who is that? It's not him.
That's exactly who it is. Yeah.
He said from Judas Priest. I was going, Rob, and he goes, Trevor. And, I'm going to call Trevor forward, our MLA. So again, thank you each and every one of you for being here.
Thank you. And he's going to call me Rob for the rest of our relationship, which I think is going to be a very, very long time. What a humbling experience to be here and see these faces and these shirts. And I don't have anything prepared, but I am honored to speak today. But I'm going to speak from a place of humility a little bit, because I grew up in this area. I did. I played baseball down the street where we will walk to. I went to, I grew up on the beach. I did not know the history and the tradition that I'm experiencing today. And I'm being very honest about that. I am proud of that tradition. And I need to learn more about the history. And I think we all do. I brought my son here today, and I won't single him out and embarrass him, but I will say this, is that I wish I had that experience growing up. I needed that experience growing up. I needed to have those conversations at the kitchen table that we are having at our kitchen table, and I'm sure many of you are having at your kitchen tables in other places, because it is a part of who we are. And it is a part of how we go forward. And we need to do that together and in partnership and in unity. And we need to get better each day, and it can't just be today. We've got to carry this into tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. And we've got to keep going, we've got to keep walking, we've got to keep talking. Because if we don't do that, then we're not doing our job. And I think each and every one of us, by showing up today, is showing that we want to do our job. And so I'm committed to that, and thank you, and thank you, and thank you for having me here today.
As we prepare for, again, I really want to thank the City of White Rock here for leaving a little bit of space, making a little bit of space, bringing the microphones. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it for a second. You know, all so often, I look around and I see our elders here, two of our elders that attended those schools. I imagine there are more of you in the crowd here. We are the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren of those children. I said before, and I'll say again, those were our children they found. And then we need to mend that. And it's your love and your support and your compassion that's going to help us do that. When we begin our walk, we're going to kind of get set up down there. I'm going to ask a few things of each and every one of you. We're not just going for a walk. We're not just going for a walk. I'm going to ask you with intent to step in those footprints, with intent to leave behind some of the pain and hurt, with intent, your love and your support. That's how healing's done. As I mentioned, I went through ceremony the past couple days, and realizing the residual effects that are trickle down. We deal with on a daily basis. Every single one of us here. But when we get down there, I'm going to ask some of these young ones, we're going to clear the path. They're going to use the chapite, the cedar branches, and they're going to clear the path for us, because they're our future. We're going to ask our drummers, our singers to come right in behind, because these drums are medicine. Any of you that believe in the power of healing, that sound, that noise will dissipate the pain and the hurt. So I ask you with intent to hear those songs, hear that drum, make a point of it. As I said earlier, I want you to leave here better. I want all of us to leave here better. And then behind our drummers, I'm going to ask any of the survivors of residential schools to follow in behind. They get kind of first crack at it. They need it. They need it. And then all the rest of us, we're going to stand behind them. My son here, when he was in Taekwondo, his sensei told us the symbol for family was father and mother. And together it made family. Without one or without the other, there's no family. So we welcome you into our hearts. We welcome you into our homes.
the beach our ancestors walked upon. I don't want to push our luck too long with the weather. I think we're lucky right now. So we're gonna make our way down there, and we're gonna kind of get set up right at the crossing there. And we'll start our walk. When we get to the band shell, when we get to Spirit Stage, we have a little bit of work to do. We've asked one of our cousins. She's gonna sing the Hiwok, the Skamloops honor song at 2:15. And it was a request that was brought out from the Skamloops people. And across the nation, everybody stop at 2:15 and sing this song. Unfortunately, I don't know it. Maybe I do, I don't know. And then we have a little bit of work we'd like to take care of after that. So we're not just going for a walk, we're healing. There's refreshments and snacks down at the park. So again, we welcome you. And we're just going to encourage again, and I know somebody mentioned it, just to be mindful of your masks, of your distancing. Kind of hard. But if we can leave it at that, then we'll continue on our path. I think of it just right here, the ideal of this beach, this bay. You all just hopped in our canoe. You all just hopped in our canoe. And we're all going to paddle in the same direction. So I thank you. I thank you for the whole help. In saying that, I said, even our warriors need to rest sometimes. I really look at our elders as our warriors. I look at our children as our warriors. They're the ones that made it this far so we can be here. And they're going to carry it into the future. So again, I just raise my hands, gratitude to each and every one of you, even you guys down there. You really, really touched me in my heart today. You really, really touched me. So we can make our way down to the crossing. We're going to go along the promenade. We're going to go down the promenade, and we're going to cross at the end, and then up the hill and into the park. A little bit of work to take care of down there. So again, I just thank you. Thank you all for being here today. Let's go.